Okay, thank you. Yeah. Well, as you know, our focus is a lot on agribusiness. And the idea in the agribusiness is because 80% of our people live on the land in Africa. So if we want to create wealth, we got to go and see how we can develop the agri side of the business. And since most of them live on the land, they are subsistence farmers. But also what is happening, they've got land, they've got perennial river sources that run through the land, and then you find they're starving. And the starving is just really because it's a lack of knowledge and then assistance to give them not a hand out, but a hand up. Our focus is not on aid, but our focus must be on sustainability, transformation. The United Nations has got what they call a Millennium Village program. And close to where we are, they started one. They put in $1 million over 1 year into the program in the first year. And all they got to show for that is a building and also the equipment, tractors. But actually on the ground, if you look at what's happening on the ground, there's nothing. It still looks very subsistence. We have started with a community, well, several communities. We've got 5 irrigation schemes, but in one community that we started with 25 hectares and then taken the community up to 50 hectares of irrigated land. And our input into that was no more than $75,000. And each cent of that will come back. Plus they will pay the service charges, which we add on as interest. They will pay those service charges as well back to the program. And already, I'm sure you've been out there to see what it looks like. You can see the first 25 hectares of the sugar beans is looking good. We're expecting from every hectare, we're expecting 1 ton minimum per farmer. And the worst could be 0.8 of a ton, but we're expecting 1 ton. And we also started the next with 25 hectares of maize. A hectare here is 2.2 acres. So if you put the 50 hectares together, they come to about 100 acres. So yeah, and we will see that these farmers now will produce 3 crops a year instead of waiting for the rain. And the rain may only come once every 3 years in this area. And yet there's a perennial water source coming via the river into the sea. So yes, this is what and by this program we're hoping to see these farmers become sustainable. These are the same farmers that look after the orphans and look after sick people. So we want to see them economically empowered. These are the same farmers that come from the churches. So we will see that they also are plugged into the church, and we'll see the church as the agent for change. I know I've probably said a little more than what you asked me to, but I thought I would just add that in.
No, that's perfect. That's great. Just finish this real quick. Okay. And there was, kind of took notes during lunch of things I wanted to say. There was something that you had said about all of the aid that's already been put in Africa, and what do we have to show for it. I just kind of wanted you to maybe reiterate that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Africa today in aid has received over $1 trillion. We don't really have much to show for that. We still have poverty. We still have huge unemployment. We have the HIV/AIDS pandemic. We have lack of education. And we also have bad management. So when we see how much money has been put into aid, we don't believe it's gone into the right area. Aid in itself is not the answer. We want to have programs that are sustainable. They must create sustainability. We must empower the people. The people must take responsibility of this situation. The African people must take responsibility. And with handouts, we're making our people lazy. We are making them independent. And also, it does not give them the self-confidence that they need because they feel they can't do it. They always need help from somebody else. And yet, we can do it. This is Africa's time. And it's the African people that have got to take responsibility. One of our focuses in AfricaWorks is developing African leadership. African leadership that will take responsibility, that will be God-centered or Christ-centered, and operate from the principles of God. And so we want to see a different Africa, a very different Africa. So we are asking that all those that are thinking aid should change their thinking, and let's put this into programs which are sustainable and would give hope and also build a good work ethic in our people.
That's great. That's awesome. You kind of put it all in a nutshell right there, which is great. Could you also, you just address real quickly about the role of the church? You said something about don't put anyone on a guilt trip, just be thankful for what you have. I think.
Kind of what you spoke about.
But what are you doing with what you do have? I think is kind of how you posed the question, and I was wondering if you could just address that too as well.
Okay, we have many great brothers and sisters coming from the US who love God and love the people in Africa. We see that because we feel it when we're here and we see the attitude. We also appreciate them because they understand that this is an African situation. Africans got to take the lead, and Africans got to take the responsibility of it. Now, we know that many of our African brothers and sisters don't have a lot. And when our brothers and sisters come from the US, because they have so much, when they get here, it makes them feel so guilty. And they look at what they see and what the people have, and they compare it to what they have, and they realize that the people they see still have a smile, still are grateful, still, life still goes on. And so what I tell many of my brothers and sisters from the US is that they should not put themselves on a guilt trip. Yes, they have. They've got to be thankful and grateful for what they have. So I believe they need to just thank God. Start thanking God and say, thank you, God, for what you have. When I go in the morning, I can open a tap. The water's running. Wash my face with that. Drink it without even being concerned that there's bacteria in it. And when I go to a light, I can just switch it on. Boom. The light goes on. Be thankful for what you have. Don't put yourself on a guilt trip. Be thankful and also ask God, what do you want me to do with what you've given me? Your forefathers were God-centered people. They were men and women of God. And you are where you are in the United States because of your forefathers and what they instituted in the Constitution. Thank you for what you do for us, and God bless you guys.